Freaky Eaters, a title I'm not a fan of. In fact, in the past, I watched this show and I had a lot of complaints. Let's see if they made some improvements. Huge thank you to True Classic for sponsoring this video. Let's get started. Pee-whoop.
34-year-old Nikki loves to eat cornstarch all day long.
Cornstarch is really nutritionally empty. Calories from carbohydrates, that's it.
Cornstarch is normally used for thickening, baking, but me personally, when I buy it, it's strictly for eating it.
Interesting.
My first craving for the cornstarch started when I was pregnant 16 years ago. Most women, when they're pregnant, they normally crave like pickles and ice cream, things like that, but my craving was cornstarch.
There's a condition called pica that basically creates cravings of eating all sorts of things. I've seen patients eat mud, dirt, sand.
My son, Marquise, he was 4 years old. He passed away 4 years ago due to a seizure. Since Marquise has been gone, I did start eating cornstarch more than I normally was.
There's some kind of psychological coping mechanism going on here. People find pleasure and safety in all sorts of aspects of life. Sometimes it could be a safety food that reminds someone of how they felt during a safe moment in their lives.
Oh, hi there.
What you got there? Whoa!
There was absolutely no need to catch her like that. That's so ridiculous and so obviously staged and getting me so obviously angry.
It's like smoke everywhere.
Oh,
I'm a psychotherapist specializing in disordered eating and addictive behaviors.
I'm JJ Virgin. I'm a certified nutrition specialist and a certified health and fitness specialist. How often are you having bowel movements?
Maybe once a week.
yeah, that could be as a result of not hydrating enough or perhaps having low fiber. Again, you can't jump to that conclusion without doing a full evaluation of the patient. And I'm sure the show will do just that.
JJ and I pulled the cover off this pool to reveal the amount of cornstarch mixed with water that Nikki eats in a year. This is 1.5 feet deep.
These visuals piss me so much off. I just refuse to believe that there's evidence saying that if you show someone how much they eat in a year, it has any impact on their behavior.
What do you think's gonna happen if I walk on this?
Sink.
Are you asking that genuinely?
Wow.
If you walk fast, you can walk right across it.
And I don't understand how this is valuable to her journey at all, but I completely understand why the producers thought it was valuable for their show. So you know who this show is out to help.
Are you ready to see and experience what 6 months of your
Oh my
cornstarch
God.
looks and feels like?
Are these people legitimate medical professionals that they're doing these things to these patients? Like, this is so ridiculous. Whoa.
It looked like a volcano had erupted.
Whoa, so cool. It's like a scene straight out of Breaking Bad.
You're goddamn right.
What Nikki was really needing was support and somewhere to go with her sadness. I don't want her to go to cornstarch. I want her to go to her husband. If we take away cornstarch, we gotta add something. And what we need to add
Is you running on cornstarch and losing your shoes and then going into an attic and spraying it everywhere.
is the strength of this marriage, is you being able to go to your husband.
When you're hurting, I'm hurting too as well. You have to let me know. You have to be open to me as well.
I'm obviously joking. This is good communication between partners.
I recognize that Nikki's gonna have a craving for cornstarch for a while, and I think tapering is gonna serve her better. We made a healthy rendition of her cornstarch by adding protein powder and fiber powder into it.
At least you're getting some better macros in there with the protein powder.
By day 3, Nikki's urges to eat cornstarch are growing stronger.
But when I do have the urge for cornstarch, I just go to my mixture with the protein and fiber.
This is where the therapy would be very supportive instead of just throwing it on the husband and saying, you solve it every time she's having these emotions. Like, I hate these fake therapy things on TV because it's so disingenuous of how it actually happens. In a situation like this, she would meet with a medical professional who's gonna try and explore why she's having these cravings. What is she thinking about during these cravings? What triggers the cravings to come on? And find actual ways to deal with those situations instead of sitting and making her run across cornstarch with water and then having her sit with her husband and have a great scene for television. Actually help her with mental health counseling. Show what it's like.
Kate's a devoted mum who loves to spend time with her family, But behind closed kitchen doors, life is no walk in the park. Because Kate's diet is almost exclusively cheese.
Not gonna lie, that is my dream. I'm like a little mouse when it comes to looking for cheese.
Because I have that memory of eating it from being a little girl, it's so safe. So I know that I can tolerate it and eat it and it won't make me sick or it won't make me feel uncomfortable.
Well, the thing with cheese is it absolutely can make you sick, even if you don't have a lactose issue. There's all sorts of bacteria that can build up in cheese. Listeria is a common one. And there's been a lot of conflicting data coming out on cheese on whether or not it helps decrease cardiovascular risk or increase cardiovascular risk. Are you getting good benefits from the micronutrients plus probiotics, or are you getting more harm from the saturated fat and overconsumption of calories? It really probably is going to depend person to person.
Sadly for husband Jeff, Kate's fear of anything hot and saucy means his home-cooked specialities are her worst nightmare.
Oh, I wonder why.
If Jeff's cooking something, he'll say when it's done, are you going to taste it? And then as it gets nearer, I can feel myself getting really, really anxious.
I wonder if this is some kind of phobia that you can perform maybe guided desensitization on to help decrease these physiologic responses that she's having of nausea.
I'd like you to go and grab one of those suitcases for me, please.
Okay.
Where's she going?
And then unzip it and then tip out the contents.
Oh, cheese.
That represents
How much cheese I eat.
in what sort of time frame?
A year.
6 suitcases worth of cheese is how much you're eating in a year.
What is one supposed to do with that information?
Pixie wants to show her the internal effects of her stodgy diet. She's got 10 metres of tubing, half what's inside the average person. She's prepared 2 liquids. One represents fibre-rich food and the other, Kate's cheesy diet.
Well, that's another good thing to point out, that cheese is usually not rich in fiber. We know fiber to generally be considered a healthy nutrient that you want to make sure that it's present in your diet in order to decrease potentially some risks of disease and slow the absorption of foods and to make you more regular.
I want to get you to transport the fibre-rich food right through the intestine for me. Now, what do you notice about that?
It's running down quite quickly, no
Yeah.
problem at all.
Can I get you to do the same thing with the cheesy stuff? Oh.
This is so not accurate of what happens inside of our stomach. It's not just a bland pipe. Our GI system actually exhibits a neuromuscular function called peristalsis, where it literally, through waveform motions of the gut, pushes food along the track. So it is more absorbed and it does move freely. This is obviously just like a silly example.
Head chef Steve Hildebrand has been lined up by Natalie to demonstrate to Kate that the pasta she's terrified of is actually made up of ingredients she's already conquered.
This is this desensitization that I was talking about. This is one way of accomplishing a decreased physiological response to the food.
I'd suspect that that's the largest combination of flavours and ingredients you've ever tasted in one go.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I mean, exploring your palate is generally a positive thing to do, because when it comes to eating in moderation, that's usually a healthy strategy.
The floating city of Venice is home to some of Italy's finest restaurants.
Can I have the spaghetti with meat sauce?
Wow.
Thank you.
And I'm not gonna judge the food choices she's making, because that's not my place. The point I wanna make here is that she's incorporating new foods that have different sources of protein, that have different micronutrients, perhaps some more fiber. Therefore, she's gonna get a more well-balanced meal and have a lower risk of developing a nutritional deficiency.
26-year-old Daniel drenches all his food in maple syrup.
I got my syrup going.
I put maple syrup on everything that I eat. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It's gonna be a surefire way to increase the sugar content of anything he's eating, which, if he's even remotely over-consuming calories in his meals and then adding that on top of it, you're gonna get into a place where you're gonna be putting on weight, and that's the unhealthy type of weight, where the odds are that you're gonna be putting on visceral fat, which is the fat that surrounds your organs and is considered less healthy.
Each and every day, Daniel downs more than 2 cups of maple syrup.
Wow, that's a lot.
That amounts to nearly 2,000 calories a day.
That's how much an average average adult should be really consuming, period. And he's just doing that with the maple syrup. And it doesn't look like he's using a high quality maple syrup, which to me doesn't really reflect the true nature of maple syrup, where if you truly tap a tree and get the maple syrup out of it, you're gonna get some nutrients, but in these hyper processed ones, a lot of times what you're gonna get is just processed junk, refined carbohydrates that spike your blood sugar, spike your insulin, create all sorts of unintended, unhealthy effects.
His eating habits are catching up to him. He's not as active as he was. He's not as energetic as he was. The maple syrup is taking its toll on his body.
Yeah, when you're gonna overconsume the maple syrup, what's gonna happen is your body's gonna store the excess sugar as triglycerides. It's gonna deposit itself in your liver. You're gonna have insulin spikes. You're gonna see hormonal changes. And most importantly, you're gonna see body fat increases. And when you start carrying excess body fat, your risk of heart attack, stroke, cancers go up. It really is a detrimental effect on the human body.
This maple syrup here, how long does this last you?
About 4 to 5 days.
Sounds like it's your drug. Sounds like it's...
I won't go that far, sir. I don't even know you, and you shouldn't even talk to me like that, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Even though it's unhealthy, the way this person's talking to them is a little aggressive. Part of having a good physician-patient alliance is being on the same page. And you did not start that conversation off on the same page.
Oh, my Lord.
We used a storage container to stash 912 pounds of sugar, 2 years worth of what he's eating. Yeah,
So-
2,000 calories a day of sugar that you're downing.
Who talks like that to a patient? The food that you're downing. Who are you?
It's a lot of syrup.
We've set up 2 years worth of Daniel's maple syrup.
No, what you should be saying is we wasted 2 years worth of maple syrup to set up a stunt for this camera.
We actually want you to pour every single one into that trash.
In the era of wasting food, this is so terrible.
I don't know why you guys are wasting this much syrup. That's crazy.
It's trash.
No, it's not. It can totally be used as a sweetener appropriately. Overconsumption of it is unhealthy, but the judgment that's coming from these supposed two mental health professionals and nutritional specialists is really upsetting. I would have loved to see the mental health specialist, this Dr. Mike character, step in and say something about this and call it out that this isn't healthy.
The real shocker came when I looked at his body composition. You have 42 pounds of fat on you.
She says it so judgmentally, it's insane. 42 pounds of fat, like what does that mean? Give me a body fat percentage. That's the real value of what I wanna know. And that's a body impedance scan. They're not super valuable. It's slightly better than, let's say, just doing a BMI for the average person.
You should be sitting there, honestly, 8-9% body fat.
Excuse me? Excuse me. 8-9% body fat? What is he, a bodybuilder?
I gave Daniel this information, and I think he heard it, but I wanted him to really feel just how out of shape he really was.
I'm gonna make you feel terrible about yourself, and that's gonna help you get better.
Come on, up. That's good.
When JJ made me do sit-ups, I knew that I have a problem.
They're forcing him to say that.
Daniel didn't even make it a minute. He was sweating, he was struggling.
That's what exercise is, since you've clearly never taught anyone exercise.
That is peach salsa.
That is good.
Now Daniel has some alternatives that have 1/8 of the sugar of his maple syrup that he can use to push maple syrup out of the way.
Well, that's a good alternative. I'm okay with that. That's making progress in the right direction.
can-
At least it's a little bit of a practical step that he can use, as opposed to, hey, you suck at exercise.
We wanted to show him somebody who was young, who had kidney failure, and now he spends 3 days a week, 4 hours at a time at this dialysis clinic.
Mikey, how old are you?
I'm 36.
Why does Mikey have kidney failure?
We wanted Daniel to understand that by the time he started to feel bad, it could be too late for him.
Are they saying he's gonna develop type 2 diabetes and then not control it with medications and then develop kidney failure? It's so much to the point where he ends up being on dialysis? I mean, this is so strange.
Dan, you look a little freaked out.
I don't want to see this.
The sooner you can make a change, the better.
This is so awkward and wrong.
I could be in this situation a couple years from now. I don't even know how I would adjust to this.
Why are they shitting on this poor guy's life? We don't even know why he has kidney failure.
Daniel, when we met you, you were eating a gallon of maple syrup a week. How much are you eating now?
quarter at least of a gallon.
Daniel has cut down his maple syrup consumption by 75%.
That's moving in the right direction for sure. They're such assholes though.
36-year-old Misty drowns everything she eats in tartar sauce. Every meal, every day.
This show feels so exploitative?
Exploitative.
It's so bad that it's both.
In just tartar sauce alone, Misty consumes a mind-boggling 14,000 calories a week.
That's a lot of calories. That's 2,000 calories a day. People think that this is a physical issue, but it's actually a mental health condition that's driving her to feel this way about the tartar sauce.
Eating tartar sauce is almost like having an orgasm.
Wow. I've never heard anyone discuss tartar sauce in that way. Tartar sauce isn't even considered an aphrodisiac. Not that any of those aphrodisiac things, by the way, make any medical sense.
Tartar sauce in your purse, Misty? Really?
I don't know how they got there.
Open that truck.
They have to do the visual every episode.
Oh, there's another one. Wow.
Oh, I thought they were gonna fill up the truck with tartar sauce.
For real?
Yep, for real.
People have legitimate medical issues, and this is how they treat it.
We're gonna send a year's worth of tartar sauce rushing towards you right now. Are you ready? Here it comes.
This is so sick.
Just to see all that ooze and goo sliding down the slide, it even grossed me out.
It's all the fat in that tartar sauce.
This is, ooh, no.
If there was a shortcut to creating an eating disorder, it's this.
What do you see?
Heavy-set woman.
You're obese and most likely at this point morbidly obese.
The fact that you say that with a scowl makes you a scumbag.
This could be as bad as it gets, but if you keep going. We had created a picture of Misty with about 50 more pounds on her.
Did they Photoshop her to be bigger? Are you trying to create a body dysmorphia? If I was in this producer's room, I would tear these people apart.
Tartar sauce is 74% fat, while the Greek-style yogurt JJ is using is only 2% fat.
I want you just to taste it.
Okay. When I first tried the Greek yogurt, it was disgusting.
Greek yogurt unflavored is not for everybody, but it is a good substitution for tartar.
Just the base. We're gonna experiment with a bunch of different tastes and we're gonna find a couple things that you like.
Substitution is good. This is the one part of the show that I'm not angry about.
Misty is ready to share her new sauce choices with her daughter.
This is real good. This
is the one positive thing about this show.
Yogurt and the spicy brown mustard.
That's why like spices are really great in that they usually don't add calories. Some spices don't even have sodium content. So like you can get some healthy micronutrients without increasing calories or sodium or sugar. BMI gets used so often, but is it even valuable? Click here to find out where I break that down and more. And as always, stay happy and healthy.